My name is Bryce. I will be your safari guide through the Harambe Wildlife Reserve today. A few quick safety reminders before we enter the reserve. Firstly, and most importantly, everyone needs to remain completely seated either in their seats or on a lap for the duration of the safari, even when the vehicle is stopped. We're going to be driving over some bumpy roads and through some rough brush, and a lot of the bushes out here have long thorns on them. Secondly, I highly recommend taking photos or videos on the safari today, but please make sure you hold on to those phones, cameras, and all other personal belongings tightly. I am unfortunately unable to stop the vehicle to retrieve anything that may fall off. But if you do happen to drop something, Hakuna Matata, no worries, just raise your hand and I will raise mine too, and we can wave goodbye together. But if your phone or camera has a sports or action setting, I would turn that on now. Many of the animals we see today will be in motion, and I won't be able to make a complete stop for every single animal, but I will do my best to stop for as many as possible. The first stop on our safari journey today is the Little Aturi Forest. Many forest animals use camouflage as their main form of defense against predators. Just gonna have to look out pretty carefully as you travel through. If you look very closely to your right-hand side, almost all the way in the back there behind those bushes, there's a dark brown animal, and that's called an okapi. The okapi's hiding out in those bushes. That's not unusual. They are very shy and reclusive animals. And because of that, while they were known throughout African communities for centuries, they were not discovered by Westerners until 1901. It was at first thought that they were a relative of the zebra because of the white stripe pattern they have on their legs. You can just make out there. But they are actually the only known living relative of the giraffe. They have the same shaped skull. Now if you look to your left-hand side in the back there, I can see a black rhino. Sadly, there are only about 5,000 black rhinos left in the world today. They are heavily targeted by poachers for their horns that are made out of keratin, which is what our fingernails are made out of, even though keratin doesn't really have any scientific benefit to humans. And I do see another black rhino if you look up and to the left on this hill here. You get another look at that black rhino if you look to your left now. Also on our left-hand side up this hill, I can see two kinds of antelope. There's sand-colored antelope, it's called a greater kudu, and the copper-colored antelope is called a bongo. Now those greater kudus are all females, and I can tell because they don't have horns. Only male greater kudu have horns, which is different from the bongos. Both male and female bongos have horns, and their horns angle backwards. And the purpose of that is to help them cut through heavy underbrush as they move along through the forest. We're now leaving the forest, and we're about to enter the Safi River, which is home to some of the most dangerous animals in all of Africa, like hippos and crocodiles. On our left-hand side, I do see a hippo in the water here. Looks like there are a few more up ahead as well. Looks like a pink rock floating, but it's actually a hippo. And that noise that hippo is making is called a wheeze honk. Can't imagine why it's called that. Now, hippos are one of the largest animals in Africa, and they are actually the most dangerous. They will spend most of their day in water like you see here, and they can actually go underwater for up to 8 minutes at a time. Hippos are perfectly capable of swimming, but they are usually walking or running underneath the water. Also on our left, Left by the hippos here, the gray birds are called pink-backed pelicans. And they get their name for the way their skin turns pink during mating season. They have a pretty large wingspan. It's about 9 feet, which is just about the width of the canopy above our heads. Have a look to your left-hand side under this bridge here. You can see quite a few Nile crocodiles lying below. Just make sure everyone's completely seated for me. Thank you. Crocodiles can grow to be 16 feet long and weigh up to 500 pounds. They are capable of capturing prey much larger than themselves, including zebras and wildebeest. And they have jaws that are powerful enough to crush their bones. Up ahead on our right-hand side, there is a baobab tree. The baobab tree is also known as the upside-down tree because of the way it looks like its roots are in the air instead of in the ground. Another nickname for this tree that you might have heard before is the tree of life. And it gets that nickname from its ability to store water in its trunk. It will remain leafless, like you see here, for about 9 months out of the year in order to conserve water. We are now entering the savanna. The savanna is home to millions of migrating animals, all of whom are very important to the daily life and overall survival of this ecosystem. The savanna is also home to some iconic animals like giraffes and elephants. We'll see what we can find today as we travel through. The first animal I see to our right-hand side are a few Ankole cattle. They are the animals with the very large horns. Those horns can grow to be between 3 and 4 feet in length each. On the inside, they're made up of a honeycomb-like structure, which serves to regulate their body temperature. As blood flows up through their horns, it can cool them down or warm them up. Left-hand side, I can see a few African wild dogs lying down. They're also called the painted dogs because of the pattern on their fur, which is unique to each animal, and they can actually recognize each other from that pattern even from a distance. Now, they may look pretty cute and fluffy, but they are actually the most successful mammal hunter in all of Africa, far more successful than the big cats. They work as a team and run their prey down until it drops from exhaustion. If you look to your left-hand side, lying down all the way in the back there, those reddish-brown animals are called sable antelope, and they are the official emblem of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. And on both sides of us, you're going to need a closer look at these Ankole cattle here. The Ankole cattle are the only domesticated animal here on the reserve. They're also called the Watusi cattle, named for the people in Africa who first domesticated them. But they were not domesticated for meat or milk. They are a symbol of wealth, and they're often given as gifts at weddings. The tall brown structures you see on either side of us are called termite mounds. They are made up of mud, saliva, and dung, and in the sunlight they harden to be about as hard as concrete, and animals like elephants really like to use them as scratching posts. other Ankole cattle pretty close on our left-hand side here. So like I said, they are a symbol of wealth in Africa, and the more solid brown they are, the more they symbolize. So that one is not worth as much as the solid brown one. Coming up on our right-hand side, I do see a white-bearded wildebeest lying in the back there. That's that gray animal. The name wildebeest means wild beast in Afrikaans. And the wildebeest live in the most densely packed herd of every mammal in the world, except for one, and that exception is humans. In order to keep up with their dense herd, a wildebeest calf can walk and run within about 15 minutes of being born. And on our right-hand side, I can see a Maasai giraffe eating from this tree here. I can see a few more up on the left as well. Now I can tell this is a Maasai giraffe because of the irregular spot pattern that it has. Giraffes are the tallest animal in the world. They can grow to be between 18 to 20 feet tall. And a giraffe calf, when born, is about 6 feet tall. So we'll see some more giraffes in just a second here on the left-hand side. So as you see, these giraffes were eating. Giraffes spend the vast majority of their day eating and grazing, trying to find food. They only sleep about 30 minutes a day, and that's not usually all at once. They also rarely sleep lying down. They will usually sleep either sitting or standing, just so they're always alert if a predator were to approach them. I wanted to get your face. On our right-hand side, I can see an African elephant. We'll get a little bit closer look in just a moment. And on our left-hand side, I can see a few mandrills. Mandrills are the largest monkey in the world. Males can weigh up to 100 pounds. And mandrills have that bright blue and red marking on their face, kind of like Rafiki from The Lion King. And that gets brighter as they get more excited. So we'll pull up and get a better look at the elephant on our right, as well as the mandrills on our left. If I had to guess, I would say that this elephant is a male elephant, and that's because he's by himself here. Female elephants will live in a large group with the young, and the males will either live completely on their own or in a loose, small group of other males. Okay, good, we all made it. I mean, it's not that I was ever really worried. Maybe a little. But we made it to the red clay pits. Elephants really like to eat red clay because it is rich in nutrients. If you look closely on the right, you can see some trunk marks and footprints. Sadly, elephants are endangered. In addition to the threat of poaching for their tusks, they are currently losing a lot of their natural habitat. They live in areas where a metallic ore used to make electronic devices is mined frequently, pushing them in closer quarters with humans, and many are getting hurt as a result. You can really help out elephants and their natural habitat by remembering to recycle your old electronic devices. And so if you look to your left-hand side, looks like we have found the herd of the female and the young. And I do even see a little baby elephant if you look kind of dead in the center there. Looks like a little rock. Many of the elephants here are flapping their ears back and forth, and they are doing that to keep cool. When an elephant flaps its ears, it regulates its body temperature. And since it's pretty hot out today, they're trying to cool off. You also notice that they all seem to have some sort of sand or mud or dirt on their backs. They will grab whatever they can with their trunks and fling it on their backs to act as a natural sunblock. They have very sensitive skin. You can get another look at the baby elephant here on the left as we pass through this clearing. Now she is just under 2 years old, and she looks pretty small there, right? She weighs well over 1,000 pounds. Looks like we're going to see one more elephant here to our left-hand side as well. Now a little bit further up on our left, I can see a flamboyance. A flamboyance is a group of flamingos. These are greater flamingos. They are the tallest and lightest pink of all the flamingo species. And flamingos get their pink color from their diet, which consists of a lot of brine shrimp. And that brine shrimp is rich in carotene, and it's that carotene that turns their feathers pink. As we turn here, I can see quite a few white rhinos. There are a few in that mud there. So rhinos will roll around in mud like that to cool down, and also like the elephants to give themselves a natural sunblock. White rhinos are larger than the black rhinos. They weigh between 4,000 and 5,000 pounds, whereas the black rhinos usually weigh up to 3,000. As you can see here, these rhinos are not white. White rhinos are not named for their coloration. White is a mistranslation of the Afrikaans word wit, which means wide, and that refers to their wide-set jaws. On our right-hand side, I can see a few ostriches here. Ostriches are the world's largest bird, but they do not fly. They use their big wings to change direction as they run. Ostriches carry most of their weight in their legs, so they have very strong legs. An ostrich kick is powerful enough to kill a human or an oncoming predator like a lion. Get a closer look at the white rhinos here on the left. In the mud. Up ahead on our left-hand side, I do see a cheetah all the way at the top of this hill, almost in that corner on the right there. It's like a lighter horizontal line up against the fence, and that is a cheetah. She actually has her head up. Cheetahs are the fastest land mammals. They can run between 60 and 70 miles per hour in just 3 seconds. But they can only hold that speed for a few hundred yards. They are sprinters. And to help them sprint, cheetahs are the only of the big cats that do not have retractable claws, which means their claws are always out, and that helps them gain traction as they run and make quick, sharp turns to most effectively capture prey. our right-hand side, I can see the ostriches again, as well as some small brown animals there. We'll get a little bit better view of them as we wrap around the rocks here. Those are called bontebok. Now, they may not look it, but the bontebok are actually related to the wildebeest that we saw earlier. Now, as we turn on our left-hand side, I do see a few warthogs. Warthogs are burrowing animals. You can see a few of their burrows here on the left. And warthogs will either make their burrows with their tusks, or they will reuse burrows they found abandoned by other animals. And they will back into their burrows to leave their tusks out to warn predators. And it's a very good deterrent. Those tusks are razor sharp. So on our right-hand side, you'll get another look at the bontebok as well as the ostriches. And I can also see some ostrich eggs on the ground on the right as well. Now, at one point in time, there were less than 20 bonteboks left in the entire world. Farmers have to realize what was happening, so they took them in on their lands and protected them. And they were able to save the species from complete extinction. Although they are still very endangered, there are only a couple thousand of them left. But we are lucky to have even that many. Now we are coming to the final stop on our safari today. This is the Magadi Glen. It is the newest addition to our reserve, made possible by the Disney Conservation Fund. On our right-hand side, the white birds there are called yellow-billed storks. They will eat pretty much everything they can find, including frogs, snakes, even sometimes smaller birds. They really like to follow around hippos and crocodiles in the mud and water, whatever they stir up as they move along. Sadly, our safari is coming to an end. I hope everyone had a wonderful time today seeing all of these amazing animals. It's important to remember most of the animals we saw are at risk of endangerment or extinction, often due to habitat loss. And every one of us can help these animals every day at home, simply by remembering to recycle, reduce, reuse, and replenish. You can also volunteer with or donate to your local conservation initiative, or you can donate to the Disney Conservation Fund here in the park. And the Walt Disney Company will match every donation dollar for dollar to help save these animals. If you're interested in more up-close animal encounters today, I recommend the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail here in Africa. It's an easy walk, and you get to see a lot of great animals that weren't on the safari today, including, as the name suggests, gorillas. If I have any wilderness explorers on board, today you've been traveling on the Simba 1. That is SIMBA and the number 1. I can hear the music of the village, which means your stop is approaching. So I'd like to take this time to thank you all for touring with Kilamanjaro Safaris. And say kwaheri, which means farewell. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day in the village and come back and see us again soon. After all, no two safaris are ever the same. The animals will definitely make sure of that.